Yo, 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 yo. Welcome in, welcome in. Top of the morning. Today is November the 2nd, 2022. Another edition of the Cashed It with Chris podcast slash NBA betting show. Presented by always by the Basketball Forever Podcast Network. Man, we got a lot to talk about. As always, we had a nice little slate yesterday, and we got a lot of games today. Tuesday and Thursday is typically a little bit lighter. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday typically the heavier days in the NBA. So, with no further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it, man. Let's try to get through as many of these games as we possibly can, real quick. If you're watching over on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button for me, comment. Let me know what you want. I see y'all up early with me. Appreciate you guys for being here, man. What up, Tunde? Top of the top for sure. Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you being here, JR Sports. So let's get it. Jason, I see you in here from VA, bro. Over here early on the East Coast. But let's talk about the games. Let's talk about the recap. Real quick. We had a nice little sweep yesterday. Podcast wise, when I talked about the morning show, that's why it's important for you guys to tap back in with me in the evening, because we get more news, more lines. The morning show is really to give out information. If it's something that I like, then I'll go ahead and put it in early and be sure to share that with you guys. But the morning show is more so to give you guys information to digest and process, to help you along the way. I'm doing the homework for you guys. Of course, I know you guys are doing the homework as well, but I'm really trying to just get the information out there, help you guys look at the games from different angles. So, yeah, let's go back real quick, because we got a lot of games to talk about today. So I don't want to spend too long on the recap. We know yesterday we had the Nets playing Chicago. I talked about Chicago being the right side, and I talked about the Nets coming out, probably with something early, and they barely did that. They covered that first quarter that I talked about yesterday, gave out that play in the on the Crispy Cap and NBA show yesterday evening. Brooklyn first quarter minus 0.5 that cashed, half unit play, so brought back 0.45 units. And then I talked about Vucevic rebounds in that game as well. Brooklyn does not rebound the ball well at all this season, so I talked about continuing to take big men against them on the boards. I typically don't like playing guys at over 11 and a half rebounds, but I got that line at a minus 130. Like the spot for Vucevic. I think he finished with like 13 or 14 rebounds, so he cleared that one pretty easily. Brought back 0.77 units because that was a 1 unit play. And then last but not least, Anthony Edwards, over 22 and a half points, minus 120. That was another 1 unit play for me, brought back 0.83 units. So overall yesterday, 3-0 day, plus 2.05 units. But today we're trying to keep it going. Yesterday is yesterday. We're trying to keep it going to today, see if we can stay hot. What y'all talking about in the comment section? What up, LJ? Appreciate you being here, my brother. What up? What up? Smacked them across the head last night, fam. Ooh, nice little plus 10,000 parlay. Okay. Jeff Michaels in the building. Good morning, my brother. How you doing? We got to chop it up later, Jeff. Utah Jazz OKC to make the playoffs. That's a sharp take. That's a sharp take. I don't know if I agree with that. LJ said, "Did you tell me on the Chris Paul assist he had 12 last night?" He did, LJ. I fell asleep on that game, bro. Ended up just letting it ride. Like I didn't want to, put another play in, so I ended up just letting it ride. But I love the look, LJ. I had it written down. And told a few people about it. I don't know if they took it or not. A few people in my circle I told about it. But yeah, let's get it, man. Let's stay hot. Finesse the books. What up, baby? What's up, bro? DJ in here. But let's get it. Let's get into today's slate, man. I don't want to take too long because we got a lot of games to talk about. Well, we got a lot of games. I'm not going to get to all of it. But let's start over here on the East Coast, man. The Philadelphia 76ers at home today against the Wizards. Now, we know that the Wizards come into this game. They're on a 3-game losing streak. And I think the line actually opened at the 76ers -8, which is a little too rich for my blood. We saw this Wizards team is better than some of these teams that the 76ers have beat already or have failed to cover against already. So I don't know if I'm willing to lay 8 points with a team like the 76ers, although they are hot right now. They're coming off 3 straight wins, 3 straight ATS covers. 2 of those games have been without Joel Embiid. This will be their first game back at the crib after a 4-game road trip. And I think that's, it's a lot of moving pieces. The team isn't the same as it was last year over there in Philadelphia. But this is what we saw from Philly last year. At the beginning of this season, everybody thought that the house was burning down already, right? Because people were riding Philly off, and I was one of the people like, man, they got to get it together. They got to show me something before I start betting on them. But this is what they did last year. They were a better away team than they were a home team, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I just remember them covering spreads and winning more games on the road than they were doing at home. So you get the Wizards coming into this game, and the reason why I think the spread was opened at 8 is because they're on a 3-game losing streak. That's straight up and ATS. They haven't been able to cover a spread, and this will be a third game in 4 nights for the Wizards. Their fourth game in 6 nights as well. So I always talk about not backing teams in that spot. Similar situation for Brooklyn last night. Brooklyn came out, they looked okay early, and then Zach LaVine happened in the fourth quarter, and that was all she wrote. And that's what you see. You see the trend kind of go towards the team that's playing the third game in 4 nights, or especially with the travel, or the team that's playing fourth game in 6 nights. They tend to fade at the end of the game because you give everything that you have to stay in the game and keep it competitive early. So the right side yesterday was Chicago. I said I wasn't going to play it because I didn't trust their offense, which looks terrible at times. But when they got Zach LaVine and they got DeRozan, those guys can get hot. Vucevic can get hot. They got complementary role players that try to play hard on the defensive end. But their offensive rating in the fourth quarter is not the greatest. It's not the greatest at all. That's the Chicago Bulls I'm talking about. But anyway, back to this game. So the Wizards, they'll host Brooklyn on Friday. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about. But this is a real bad travel spot for the Wizards. I kind of talked about it the other day. They've had these road, home games, and they've not looked good in this spot at all. Embiid is, of course, is listed as questionable in this one. We'll probably get his information a little later. I actually like Philly a little bit better without Embiid. I know that sounds weird, but they just play at a much faster pace. And they just won the game. They won the last game, of course. These two teams, of course, just played each other. In that game, let's see. I thought I had it up already. Forgive me. Give me 1 second. Let's see. So Washington. Okay, so in the last game, because these two teams did just play each other, we saw Philly win that game 118 to 111. And in that game, Joel Embiid rested. He did not play. What I'm looking at in this game, though, because I do got a couple notes I want to talk about. So Philly, they did beat Washington in Philly, like I said, on Monday by 7 to cover a 2.5 point spread without Joel Embiid. But before that, Washington had won both games outright against this team. So maybe they had that one circled. Washington offenses look terrible. They're ranked 25th in scoring, just 109 points per game. And Philly's defense has picked up just a tad bit. They're ranked 6th right now. They're allowing only 108 points per game. Phillies continue to be a poor rebounding team. They're ranked last in the league, as they were last year. But the Wizards are also ranked 21st. If Embiid comes back, I'm going to be looking at Embiid rebound prop under. I know that's probably like a weird play, but Embiid, I've been talking about the plantar fasciitis. He's not looked well, like as far as rebounding the ball. And then you got guys like PJ Tucker, James Harden, who can rebound the ball as well. Embiid, I don't think he's hit his rebound prop, and it's typically set pretty high against any of these teams that aren't named the Indiana Pacers. So that's one way I'm gonna be looking to attack this game. I also think guys like Kyle Kuzma rebounds have to be in play as well. Kuzma, I think his rebounds opened at 6.5. It was like minus 125. He's already averaging like 7.5 rebounds. So I feel like that line's set just a tad bit low. And then, of course, he didn't hit it last game. So Kuzma should probably bounce back in a spot like this against one of the worst rebounding team in the league. I like Kuzma rebounds today. I like him a lot. Haven't made an official play at all, but I'm gonna be looking at Embiid under rebounds and Kuzma to go over his rebounds. As the game gets closer, we get more information about Embiid, whether he's gonna play or not. I'll be looking to probably end up playing one of those. Don't like the spread being this big for the 76ers, and honestly, I think it's a spread that the Wizards could cover, but they haven't been covering lately, so I'm not gonna just blindly put money on them to play well today. What do you guys think about that? Let me see what I see in the chat. Low-key Jazz to make the play-in. Don't know about OKC, though. That was a good look on CP3 assists, LJ. Book hooked me on the 5 assists. Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. Philly first quarter 6-2, average 132 points. Wizards allowed 32 points in the first quarter. That's a good one. Markel said he is on the Hornets money line. So that's actually, interestingly enough, the perfect segue. Markel, let's go to that game. I wanted to talk about that game. So next game up, Hornets and Bulls, right? So this line actually opened at 6 in favor of the Bulls. Right now it's come down to 5.5 on DraftKings and Caesars, down to 5 at bookmakers. So we got some money coming in. We got some money coming in on Charlotte. Charlotte was they were losers of their last game to Sacramento, and this was on Sunday, right? Today's Wednesday, so this was actually Monday. I'm sorry. On Monday they lost that game. Of course, they're still without Terry Rozier, still without LaMelo. I think they're both out in this game. So you get the Hornets coming in off a loss to the Kings, and 2 straight home games. And now they're traveling to Chicago, but they'll beat the Bulls to Chicago because the Bulls, we know, played last night. So second night of a back-to-back with travel for the Bulls. There's also a third game in 5 nights, and a fourth game in 6 nights for the Bulls. So the same way we caught Brooklyn slipping yesterday is how we could catch, this Bulls team slipping. I'm not really worried about LaMelo and Terry Rozier not being there. We've seen how well this offense can function without Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball being there. Charlotte is one of they still, even though Terry Rozier and LaMelo aren't there, they're still one of the better offensive teams in the league, which, it blows my mind. But and we know Chicago can't score the ball. So looking at the numbers, let's see. Also, to mention this one, they already said that Zach LaVine will probably miss this game. He's not playing it back-to-backs this early in the season. So Charlotte offense ranks 11th. They're scoring 117 points per game versus Chicago offense only ranking 20th, averaging 112. Then you take out Zach LaVine, and Charlotte's also shooting the three-point ball well. They're shooting 39%, which ranks 7th. They're shooting 47% overall from the field, which ranks 13th. And the Bulls will try to do it with defense. I don't think that their three-point defense is really bad. They're actually ranked second to last. They're allowing teams to shoot 42.9%. And we know Charlotte's going to get out here and try to shoot the ball, man. It's an ugly play, but I like the +6. I like the +6 a lot. If you can still get a 6, I take the 6. I take the points with the Hornets in this one. And one of the trends that back this, so since the start of last season, previous teams that played away games, teams that played their previous game away, then home with no rest, that are favored by 6 points or more, they went just 19-25 against the spread. And they typically covered the spread by average of 3 points. So I like that. I like that look a lot. I'm with you, Markel. I haven't locked it in yet, but that's the only way I'd be able to look. I'm not looking to back Chicago in this spot. Home road, road home back-to-back with travel, and you get a more rested Charlotte team that should be motivated off coming off that loss. So that's the way I'd be looking in this one as well. Hornets +6. Okay, Brian said he on it too. Jeff said it does kind of scare me that Charlotte is putting up 113 points in the last 4 games with 2 games of 120, but they are just 1-3 straight up. Yeah, I don't know if they win the game, Jordan, but Jeff, but I do think that they cover. I think they cover. I think 6 is too many points. I could see them winning outright. Like I said, Chicago, their offense just doesn't do it enough for me. They caught Brooklyn in a sleepy spot yesterday. I don't like their offense as much when they just have DeRozan and Vucevic, and I don't like them in the back-to-back spot. They had to exert a lot of energy yesterday to come back. And Zach LaVine, you could tell he kind of just left it all out there knowing that he wouldn't play today. So that's that, man. But I'm with you guys on that. Yeah, I think it's some sharp stuff in the chat, man. I'd definitely be looking at playing Charlotte plus the 6 points tonight for sure. Let's move on to the next game. Let's get into this Kings and Heat game. Similar situation, right? So you get a team, and the spread for this one opened at the Heat in favor by 7. and a total of 226.5. So you get a Kings team that's coming in here in their second straight game of their second game of their East Coast road trip. They'll play in Orlando on Saturday. I think it's Saturday. They got a few days off. This will be the second game of a back-to-back for the Heat. We saw how much energy they exerted yesterday, beating the Golden State Warriors, which we didn't talk about a recap of that game. They come into this game on the second night of a back-to-back as well. De'Aaron Fox is ruled out in this one. I think that's interesting to note. We were on his points the other day, and he left that game and never returned after being injured in the first quarter. So Fox is already ruled out in this one, and I think that's why the spread opened at such a high number. But what do we see? We see some money instantly come in. I see a 6.5, and it's still some sevens. Total dropped down from 226.5 to 225.5 on who else? The ugly dog. The ugly dogs have been covering, right? The ugly dog in this spot happens to be the Sacramento Kings. So similarly, since last season, home favorites with a line that's 7 or greater, but less than 10 on the second night of a back-to-back are just 5, 17, and 1. That's a 23% cover rate in this spot. The away dogs are losing those games by just 2 points. So I still feel like there's value on the Sacramento Kings in this spot as well. Miami also, they're just 5-9 on back-to-backs last season. So they don't do well ATS-wise covering games in back-to-back spots. They also went 1-4 on back-to-backs with no rest as a home favorite, right? So 5 times last year, they were favored at home on a back-to-back with no rest, and they only covered one of those 5 games. And they won those games by average of 1 point. So a lot of things, in this one pointing to taking the ugly dog again, man, pointing to taking Sacramento plus the points. I like Charlotte plus the points as well. Let me see what you guys are talking about in the chat on this one. AO points. AO points could be a big play. Big Ten. That could be a play. He's young enough to where I don't think the back-to-back will affect him as much as it will guys like DeRozan and Vucevic and some of those older guys. So I could see that. I can see that look as well. And you guys drop your plays in the chat, man. Let me know what you guys are on, especially if you've already, done some early research. You put plays in that you like already. Let me know what you guys are on. I'm gonna try to get through one more game real quick before we wrap it up. So Hawks and the Knicks. Man, I really like this game. I think I'd rather just watch this one. You do get an Atlanta team that's coming in on their 5th straight road game. They're coming off a 30-point loss to Toronto, so they should be fired up. Back-to-back losses in Milwaukee, in Toronto, got smacked up by Toronto. Toronto beat them 139-109. For the Knicks, they'll be coming in this game. This will be their first game back home after taking 2 losses straight up and against the spread as well after starting this season. All really well against some of the I wouldn't say bottom feeders, but some of the, middle of the pack teams. But then you go to Milwaukee. Milwaukee beats them up, even though they fought hard against Milwaukee. And you lose to Cleveland too. 2 of the teams that, are probably going to be at the top of the Eastern Conference when it's all said and done. They play the Knicks. Play in Philly on Friday. So this line actually opened at 2.5 in favor of the Knicks, and it's come down to 2. And you guys should know where I'm going with this one. Total opened at 228.5. It's up to 229. We know the Knicks like to get out and running. They like to run fast. I think listening to Coach Nate McMillan, I think that I think Atlanta will too. I think they'll try to get out and run too. But Trae Young, you got to look at Trae Young anytime this dude's playing in the Garden. Absolutely crushes it. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but just go on StatMuse or Google Trae Young game log versus the Knicks at home. This dude, the Knicks versus the Knicks at the Garden, and you'll see the numbers. We know the rivalry between these 2 teams, which is why I'll probably stay off and just look at props versus actually taking a side in this one. And I'll have more in this game later, but it's probably not a game I'm going to play. I do feel like the Knicks are the better team right now, and I'm still trying to figure out the Atlanta Hawks. Jeff said Pelicans. Yeah, let's talk about that game real quick before we get out of here. Trae Young points in NYC. Trae Mexico got y'all on it too. Okay, love the Hawks here. DJ said Trae Young points in NYC. Fox is out. Davion Mitchell points. You got to look at Davion Mitchell. B Hunter. I know he played well, and he's probably due to regress just a tad bit, but the opportunity is going to be there. And this was a guy that we cashed on last year towards the end of the season when De'Aaron Fox didn't play. So I would be looking at his points again in this spot. It's a revenge game for Miami too. And I gave out the revenge game stats. I think it's something like 12-5 Miami was revenging a loss last season. Because they did just go over to the West Coast and they lost. They lost both. They only beat the Trailblazers, but they lost to Golden State and they lost to Miami. So Miami should come out with something in this spot, but I don't know. Also, the injury news on Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero left yesterday's game, and we saw Matt Strus come in and absolutely light it up. Hit a bunch of threes. Those guys played defense when they needed to. They went zone. Shout out to the head coaching matchup between Spoelstra and Steve Kerr yesterday. Spoelstra definitely was playing chess out there, not checkers with Steve Kerr towards the end of the game. We saw Golden State offense just get real sleepy out there and not be able to score in the last 5-6 minutes of that game. So but let's get one more game in, man. That's a lot of good games. I really want to talk about the Clippers and the Raptors because the Clippers and the Rockets, because the Rockets actually opened at 9-point favorites the other day, and now we get them at 5.5-point favorites. And I actually like the Clippers a little bit more in the spot, and that might be scary too because they haven't really been covering spreads, but now they get a short number. But I'll skip that game. It's a lot of games I'm interested in, man. Raptors and Spurs, I really want to see this game as well. Probably want to put a play in. Spurs are a hard team to figure out. Pistons and Bucks, we talked about that one the other day. They get a rematch. That game's still in Milwaukee. Jazz and Mavs, I'm really interested in that game. I really want to back the Mavs, but you don't want to fade the Jazz right now. I feel like it's a Mavs spot, though. I do feel like it's a Mavs spot. Y'all tap back in with me on the evening show. I'll have more time to kind of talk about, all these games and give you guys more news and notes and, some of the trends that I'm pulling. But you don't want to fade the Mavs off a loss as a home favorite. I gave that stat out last week against Brooklyn. And I think it's applicable here against the Jazz, even though the Jazz have been playing well. So I didn't play that one at all. But let's go to I do want to go to LA real quick. Let's go to LA one time for the one time, like my guy Jay Money say. So the Pelicans come in here off a win. They beat the breaks actually off the Los Angeles Clippers on Sunday. So they are, theoretically they're the more motivated, the more rested team. They beat the Clippers. They beat the brakes off the Clippers too, especially in the second half. You saw the defense pick up. Now you get the Clippers. The spread actually opened at 2 yesterday when I was capping this game in the middle of the day yesterday, about 2:00. Money's already come in on the Pelicans, 97% of the money. And the spread has gone from 2 to 3.5, and now I see it down to 3. The total 229. I think that's a tad bit too high. I talked about it the other day. The Laker offense is not that great. I don't think that they'll be scoring that many points. And I'm a diehard Laker fan. I'm not in a position to feel like I want to back the Lakers. And I know it's public money, but I feel like you got, the Lakers could be coming off that high too. And I think there's something behind the Lakers winning the game against Denver, which I was on the Lakers versus Denver the first time. And I talked about this already. I think the Lakers wins this season come against the teams that don't play a lot of defense. And honestly, I think it's just that. I think the Lakers are going to look best against teams that don't play defense. I expect the Lakers to struggle against teams that do play defense and that also, can score the ball. The Pelicans are one of the better offensive teams in the league right now. They are, and we are just about at the 25-minute mark, so I'm going to cut it off after this one. But the Pelicans offensively, the Pelicans are ranked number 1. Would you look at that? 118.5. The Lakers offense ranked 29th, averaging 105. So just looking at that, the nod goes to the Pelicans. And I know the Lakers defense has been playing well. They're actually ranked number 8 in the league, but the Pelicans defense has been playing well. And that's without Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones and Zion Williams in some of those games. The defense ranks 13th. They're only giving up 111 points. I see the Lakers struggling in this game. I think the Lakers struggle in this spot, and I would only be looking at, back in the Pelicans. I haven't made an official play yet, and I do think that, money will probably come in on the Pelicans throughout the day, and I expect this line to go, probably to 4, maybe even 4.5. Anthony Davis is listed as questionable. We know his back is, being a Laker fan and betting on AD, which I did the other day, thank God he cashed his points over 22.5. But, being in that spot is scary, man. This dude back could lock up at any time, and, the Pelicans get the Lakers up out of here. I think the Lakers struggle with teams that have size. I think the Lakers struggle with teams that play defense. Herb Jones is also back in this game. Brandon Ingram will not play. He didn't even take the West Coast trip. The Pelicans, this will be their last game out west before they go back home. The Pelicans actually play Golden State on Friday, but that game will be at home. So, coming off, like I said, what was that? 21-point win, and their defense really picked up in the second half. Now you get Herb Jones back. I think the Lakers really struggle in this spot. They already struggle to score the ball against this long, lengthy, good rebounding team in the Pelicans. I just don't see my Lakers covering the spread. So really, really like the Pelicans today, but haven't made that an official play yet. What y'all on in here? Is AD playing? He's listed as questionable, Aaron. What up, Anthony? Appreciate you being here, tapping in with me in the morning show, bro. Aaron said, like the Sixers going to lose against teams that play defense. Yeah, that's a fact. The Sixers haven't played well against teams that play defense either. After Nash fired, I immediately bet KD points over. That you cashed there. Good look, Anthony. And Jeff said New Orleans is number 4th in offensive efficiency too. 115 points per 100 possessions when you take tempo into account. Yeah, I think I want to play the total under 229, but I feel like the better play might just be the Pelicans to win this game by 5 or 6 points. The Lakers haven't covered a spread all season, except the last one against the Denver Nuggets. But this is a totally different team. But that's what I got for you guys, man. I'm already over. It's 27 minutes, and I haven't even touched all the games. Nothing official for me, but I did give out, some looks, and I hope this helps, jumpstart your day. As far as your research and your capping, 5:15 Eastern time, NBA Crispy Captain Show, live on Twitter and on YouTube. Be sure to tap back in with me then. Do the rest of your homework now, and we'll talk again soon, man. Best of luck on all your bets that you guys end up placing today. None of this is financial, consultation. It's theory, it's statistics, and it's analytics, right? Use your best judgment when placing your bets, and bet with your head, not over it. Best of luck, you guys.